Heyo.
Hey, yo. Before we start, let's just do a little recap of week 1. Here we go, baby. Yes. Oh, my gosh. It has been an amazing week, y'all. Look at this. Some of the best plays from Justin Herbert here.
Oh, man. Woo.
Yeah.
You the man, dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Herbie. MVP right
Herbie.
here, man.
MVP.
MVP. Every single time at camp when he was walking towards, everyone would chant that, dude. It's so good.
Oh, everybody's, man. He was blessing people with autographs. Ooh.
Exactly.
So good.
Yep.
So good, man. Holy
So good.
moly. Let's go. Let's go.
So good.
Let's go. Andrew's going to be on here shortly.
Yeah.
Sorry, he'll be on here shortly. Hang tight.
Yeah. Oh, he's joined back. Here we go. He's back. He's in now.
There it is.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Man, turbo bombs all over the place.
Hold
dude.
up. Hold up.
All day long right here.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Oh, the smokes, man. Justin Herbert, man. And he's just the thing about him. He's such
Throwing
a
dimes, dude.
professional
Throwing
already.
dimes.
Just having a great time.
Right? Exactly.
Man. It's
Oh.
something else, man.
It's so good to see, like, this type of play already so early on, you know?
Oh, man. It's great. It's great to watch, man. It's great
Yeah.
to
The
watch.
thing is, he's got such good wheels, too, and good instincts, right? You know, when he takes the
for
field.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, a big thing that he emphasized a lot was his footwork is what he wanted to work on. So that's
Yep,
one thing
big
I've
time.
been watching a lot. And so
Right.
I think you think it's interesting watching how his feet are planted and everything. I remember when Drew Brees first came in, he always had
Right.
happy feet all the time. His feet would always be
Yeah.
shifting around a lot, which I get it and understand that. But at the same side, it
Yeah.
kind of even seems in training camp, Herbert keeps his feet kind of planted and he shifts his hips versus he lets his feet kind of hop a lot.
Right.
So it's something that
Right.
I've noticed a lot about him and so far this season. Herbo.
I like that. I like these jams, too.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, the jams are still. I tell you what, the social media department here for the Chargers have been absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Oh, they've been
Absolutely.
great.
I mean, they put together the best stuff.
You know, it's crazy how much different it's been since coming into LA and San Diego and the differences of social media teams. It's like a whole new level of social media since they've been in LA. It's awesome to see. It's awesome. I mean, did they win some awards or something? The Webbies or something like that?
Yeah, they won the Webby. I think that's like the most prestigious advertising award,
That's
Oh, really?
awesome.
dude.
If you want to see
That's
more
awesome.
content
Let's
like this,
go. Let's
Let's
go.
go. Wait, no, let's
Bros.
do this one. Okay,
Oh,
there
we
you go.
got another one here.
Yeah.
Whew. Man.
Okay, so yeah, how do we want to set this? This is the first time for all three of us are in different rooms.
For a little bit, yeah, definitely it has been, and you
Yeah.
know, let's jump on in, dude. Like, I'll run it. Let's go.
Let's run it. Yeah, let's
go.
do this.
So, Bolt Bros, here we are once again. Thank you guys once again tuning on in. Man, it's been just a
Woo!
fun week with basically training camp opening, seeing the Chargers play. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for and talking about this whole entire time, and man,
Yep.
it was great. It was great to be able to be out there with my bros for
Yeah.
day one of training camp. We all were together day one, which was awesome to be able to be out there with you guys. So once again, my name's James. We got my brother Kyle and Andy, or Andrew, I should say, is what he goes by. We're here to talk about the Chargers and Chargers opponents. So probably going to talk mostly about training camp today, but love it, guys. Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Oh, we getting out of here.
Woo. Here we are, boys.
Love doing that. Love doing that.
Oh yeah, that intro is so solid, bro. I love it.
I love it, man. love it. So, man, once again, we talked a little bit and briefly got you guys hyped up with the Herbo video, man. And man, I'll just talk about the experience of us being out there. Actually, I know Kyle and Andy brought up a couple different things, just talking a little bit about what's happening of other teams' camps. I don't know if we want to chat briefly about that before we kind of jump into our experience, but I think it's kind of good just to talk about our opponents, obviously, too, and see kind of what the AFC West is seeing and what we're seeing from other camps after week one. So I think, Andy, you were chatting a little bit about the Raiders, too, right? And kind of what you saw a little bit from them.
Well, it sounds like Josh McDaniels, has been hollering at some people. Apparently, there were some pretty solid screaming matches at some of his players. And look, I mean, it'd be really interesting to see how, he plays out as a head coach, right? I mean, look, every head coach that's ever gone anywhere else from Bill Belichick hasn't really done that well, right? And so, man, he was a bust when he went to Denver that 1 year, and now, people handle stress very differently. Everyone handles stress differently.
That's very true.
And I look at Josh McDaniels and I ask myself this question: can he really be the guy? And he hasn't proven that he can be. So yeah, it's something to think about, right? I mean, is he going to implode and even be a decent head coach? He didn't do it with the Broncos. We'll see if he can do it with the Raiders. And the Raiders, historically, they've made some bad choices, man. I mean, they always want the sexy pick, and it's not the right thing, And so, yeah. Hey, whatever. We'll see what happens. So that's an interesting one I wanted to discuss today.
Yeah, I know. It's just with that too. Like, I mean, Rich Bisaccia, who is their head coach, who took
I think
over.
he should have been their guy. I don't know why they let him go.
Should have been their guy. I think he got that team into the playoffs, and I think he did a better job than John Gruden. So it's kind of crazy to be able to see that there's a transition here. Now it's almost like
on a hard year too.
Yeah, right. And I mean, it's pretty incredible what he did. And I don't know if they're just trying to have another guy who's a hard-nosed head coach. And, sometimes that's not very effective with these young guys. And, I don't think I like to get, yelled at my job all the time. That doesn't seem effective for me by any means. So who knows? We'll see what happens there. I mean, obviously we just hope the Raiders crash and burn, but
exactly.
We don't want to see anything good come out of them at all.
Yeah, we're good with that. Yeah. Oh yeah. You guys want to be like 40-14? Cool. Great. Have a good time with that.
Good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Any other comments on that, Kyle, at all?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot to be said about the freaking coach who just shows up and, with all the rockiness of that whole season, just takes the team to the playoffs. Look, I mean, that's no easy feat.
No.
Look, I mean, obviously, like, and I don't know why they would have let him go, but then again, I guess they went with McDaniels, and so he wants his own guys to be in there, just like Staley wants his own guys.
Yeah.
So, I think, but who knows? But I think actually, what? We actually got our first question already here. Like, and this is like kind of like one of the pressing matters because this news just came out.
Yep.
But straight up, who is Sage Surratt?
Yep.
Yeah. They spelled it a little wrong.
It's spelled incorrectly. When guys, when we say we talk about the Chargers 24/7, we talk about the Chargers 24/7. James, remember you said that to me, and I said, "Oh my gosh, one of our tight ends has to be hurt." I literally said that, didn't I, James? I said the only reason why we would sign somebody in training camp, the beginning of training camp, is because somebody got hurt. And it's Parham. Apparently, he's got some sort of injury, and it sucks. So it looks like Sage is some depth guy that's going to come in, and I hope Parham stays healthy. That guy could stay on the field, man. He's absolutely fantastic. One of the best tight ends in the league.
Yeah, he's a solid guy, and I mean the thing is though about Parham, he's a great in the red zone. I mean, having a guy that big as a tight end is just an absolute mismatch on so many levels. I mean, dang near having almost a foot on some cornerbacks in the league. That's pretty hard to be able to work against, So with Sage, he was with the Lions for initially for 2021. He was an undrafted guy. Sounds like he kind of flexed around between practice squad and such, and didn't really have anything too outstanding as a player with the Lions. But he does have a 40-yard dash speed of 4.7, which is way faster than I did because I was 6.1 seconds. So
you need to unhook that wagon, bro. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
hey man, hey, I ran cold. All right, I ran cold at the Chargers training camp.
You need to limber up, my dude. I don't know what happened there, but you need to limber up a little bit.
Hey, I think she started early. I think she started early on the time. All right.
No, yeah, exactly. No, well, hey, I got like a 7.2, so I was like, man, she started early and ended late. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey,
I felt like I was way faster than that.
Hey, my old ass didn't even do it, so that's cool. So at least you guys did it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know what? But you know what? Like, I got some video footage of it, and like that's gonna come out later.
Yeah.
But and it's gonna show that I think it's gonna show that I was under 7 seconds at least, man. I was like, oh man, I'm slower than freaking like a lineman, bro. Like, well, I guess that's not a really a low bar anymore, because look at Jordan Davis. He ran like what, like a under 5 or something.
Yeah.
Like freaking.
No. He got closer to like, I think it was Patrick Mahomes speed or something like that.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like freaking gnarly, dude.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Sage, I think he's kind of more of a depth guy. He's got some speed.
Yep.
I think he's got some special team ability and everything too. He was at the Birmingham Stallions of the USFL, who won the championship for them this year. So, it's an interesting situation where it's going to come with him. I mean, the thing is, though, he was also considered his sizing is more considered like a wide receiver. So
for sure. Yep.
I mean, 6'3", 215. That's pretty small for a tight end, but he does have a basketball background too. So, which is an interesting thing about that, because I mean, you think about Antonio Gates and where he came from, an undrafted guy, basketball background and everything. And guess what? We know where he went. He's going straight to the Hall of Fame. So, not saying this guy's the Hall of Fame, but hey, what if the Lions, messed up on it again and left a player out there that ends up going to the Hall of Fame, being one of the best tight ends? Now,
well, hold on a second. I mean, look at the quarterback throwing to this guy, anyways, too, right? Yes. I mean, arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, going to probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Yep. I mean, again, we were going to talk more about this too, but Justin Herbert is so good. He's going to make everyone offensively look good on that team, no matter what. Right. 100%. So, look, I mean, he's going to put it right in the breadbasket. They just got to catch the damn ball. It's going to come at him. So,
1,000%.
Yep. Absolutely. Anyway, so that's kind of who we know as Sage and kind of where he's at this moment. And so, I mean, I think he's just kind of a depth name. And I know Parham was catching some passes on the sideline too. So I don't know if it's too much room for concern, but at the same side, names are going to come in and out of the camp and everything too. But he's getting a shot with the Chargers, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Who knows? Jumping over to the other training camp too. I know I looked a little bit at the Chiefs to kind of see what's going on over there. McDuffie was kind of a name that popped up a little bit too as a cornerback, and he's making some plays out there, which I thought McDuffie would have been awesome for the Chargers, but we obviously went with Zion, which that makes more sense than ever having him on there. And we'll chat a little bit more about Zion here later on in the show. They talked a lot about the wide receivers, obviously, because now there's so much change there. You got Sky Moore. Sounds he's kind of playing the deep pass kind of situation there. And the out routes there for the Chiefs. And then you also have I didn't hear much about Juju Smith-Schuster so far. I don't know if he's still injured, because I know he was injured kind of late last season. He did get in for the playoffs for them. Mecole Hardman sounds like he even went into a wildcat position a little bit with them too. And he sounds like he's really, really clicking with Mahomes, because he is kind of one of their more known receivers that have been on that team. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I didn't hear a whole heck of a lot from him too, but so far that's kind of really all I hear from them. And I know, Kyle, you brought up something about the Broncos too, right?
Yeah. So the Broncos, it turns out that they are equally as excited about their team this year as we are for the Chargers, because they apparently had a historical number of players. I think they said a record-breaking number of of fans show up to their training camp, because like they actually apparently they don't have stands over there. I guess they're too poor for that. But they have just like a hillside where people can go and sit, and they bring their blankets and kind of sit down, hang out, And apparently, like they were saying that it was all it was just a sea of orange out there. And I saw a picture of it. Maybe I can bring it up and pull it up for you guys or something. But yeah, like it was just a lot of people out there trying to see Russell Wilson because they had their back to the fans festival as well, but yeah, I mean, it's exciting times for football all around though, so
I have a buddy that's a big Broncos fan, and he talked a lot about how the camps were insane, kind of like the way the Chargers were. I mean, the outing of the fans were incredible to see.
Yeah.
And everybody's very, very excited about it. But the camp for the Broncos was kind of nuts too when when Manning came over to the Broncos. It was insane. So it is one of those things that people are excited about having Russell Wilson there. They're excited to be able to have a quarterback that actually is a good quarterback for once. I mean, they've gone through so many quarterbacks there. So it's a big, big thing for them. I know with Russell Wilson, I heard a lot with just kind of their connections with the wide receivers doing really, really well. Jerry Jeudy seems to be doing pretty well for himself. I know he was injured last season, but I've heard a lot of drop passes from him too from last season. But, it's interesting to see. Everybody's excited. And this is when faith is restored in every fan base. I think there's somebody that just talks about a Jet fan. I think it's Barney Miller just brought up something about our fan practices are sold out too. So that's pretty incredible. Everybody was Zach Wilson, Broadway Wilson or Broadway Zach, I think is what his nickname is after the whole situation with the mom situation there. Everybody gave him mad respect. I think that was hilarious.
It is pretty funny if you think about it. Especially where I went to school, right? He went to BYU. And,
go Cougs.
Yeah, go Cougs, right? I mean, just so funny. I mean,
that's good.
But look, here's the thing. He's a great quarterback. The guy has what he needs. But again, it goes back to what we've always discussed. An NFL team has to put a team around him to be successful. And the Jets have not done that. This is probably the first year they have done that. And so, they've put some pieces around for him. So we'll see. This will be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, I wouldn't say sold on him yet either. I mean, he's still got a lot to prove. He hasn't stepped up like a Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was just thrown in the fire. Go make it happen, dude. And he kicked ass.
Yes, sir.
Right out of the gate. We got lucky.
Yeah. All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. I thought it was all ass, no brakes. That's probably gonna be my tramp stamp tattoo here pretty soon.
Oh man.
What? Oh man, that sounds troublesome there, bro. I don't know.
Yeah,
hey, we got something to talk about.
Forget about that.
Oh
shoot.
Yeah, that's something else.
Dang.
Well, I'm excited to see how the Jets do this year. Robert Saleh is an awesome coach. I think he's finally now potentially settling his system down a little bit. I think he did a great job for the draft. I always say I felt Jets did a fantastic job with the draft. Sauce Gardner seems like he's getting a lot of love from the fan base too. I mean, you guys have something really good over there, and that's and I know Aether and we've had a lot of conversations about the Bills, and we feel the Bills could be one of those teams that could get up to the AFC West or AFC Championship game. And I do think that there's something about that because I think the Jets could be one of those teams that could be kind of potentially one of those teams that could spoil some of these guys' record and positioning for playoffs, because that is a really solid division. I mean, the AFC East has really built up something well. And I do think the Jets, I'm not saying the Jets are going to go from last to first or whatnot, but I'm going to say they could be one of those very competitive teams to put a little bit more heat on the Bills this year. So I'm excited to see where they go with the Jets this year. So Jets, Jets. Let's see where they go.
Well, and it's interesting. You think about what the Chargers need to do. And again, we're skipping a little ahead on this, but look, we were top 3 in the offense. If we have a top 10 defense this next year, hey, if we don't make the AFC Championship game,
100%.
It would be
100%.
But if we just have to be a top 10 defense and get our special teams to be maybe a top 10 defense as well too. We'll make it because we're going to score points, right? We're going to score points. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Papa, great point. It is kind of weird that he was actually doing that. I don't know why he was wearing that jersey because I think there's always these like if you look at Justin Herbert, he looks like he's got a baby jersey on because I don't think they have a size that could hold them guns back. So, hey, it is kind of strange.
He's Swolbert, son. He's Swolbert.
Swolbert, after all,
Swolbert, Yeah. So,
which that shirt is coming out here pretty soon. Actually,
we got some merch coming.
Yeah, we're working on some stuff right now. So
designs, we're working on it. So it's been pretty cool. Actually, before we go into this a little bit more, like Aether had a good question for us as well.
Okay, pop it up on the screen.
Here we go. He says. Yes, I'll pop it up here. You go. Yeah. There you go. It says our offense is missing a slot receiver as a game changer. I love Josh Palmer. Is he the guy that can be our offense? We desperately need this kind of weapon. Let me hear.
You know, I've always kind of put that's who Keenan Allen is.
Yeah, that's Keenan Allen.
He's a
1,000%.
He's just a route runner guy, and he's not an out route kind of guy. He's about trying to get separation. I mean, I think there's some stats back there where there's a certain amount of yards differences between a cornerback and the wide receiver, and he's one of the top in the league to be able to get that separation between them. And so that's what a slot receiver essentially is. And we know what Keenan Allen does, gets over 100 catches a season, just absolutely just mean on the route running. So I really think that's who he is. I mean, could Josh Palmer be that guy also to back that up and be another slot guy? Absolutely. I definitely think that we have that guy, in my opinion. I think that Josh Palmer has a different position within the wide receiving core. So,
the way I kind of have always viewed it, right? Mike Williams is your deep threat guy. Well, with Guyton, but I see Palmer and Williams as really being very similar type of wide receivers, and then Guyton and Allen being very similar type of wide receivers that can be our slot guys, right? But Guyton also has more speed. But Keenan Allen, as we said, he catches the ball and falls on the ground, right? He's a third down guy, but he's not one of those guys that's going to really go deep a whole lot, right? Keenan kind of just takes what's given to him and then go from there. But good point. Look, he's going to be an amazing wide receiver 3 for Justin Herbert. And I really do suspect all 4 of those wide receivers are going to get quite a bit of a rotation. I do think they're going to sit a lot of people. They want to keep people fresh for the fourth quarter. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure. We got a lot of depth too, man. I mean, if you look at our roster, we have a ton of wide receivers. Michael Bandy, Trayvon Bradford. Obviously, DeAndre Carter is our number 5 guy, right? Our kickoff returner.
Yeah.
And I think he could do really well in the slot as well, too. He had a productive and prolific year with Washington last year. So it could be interesting to see what happens there. And he went to Sac State. How crazy is that?
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of closer to where our hometown was, And it's kind of crazy too because obviously Guyton was our wide receiver, our WR4.
Wide receiver 4 for sure.
Yeah, last year. But I think honestly, Palmer actually so far in camp, it's only week 1, it's early. Is definitely performing better than him because as you see in like all the performances from this week here, I should probably move myself up. He has been actually getting a lot more of the press. And when I was just there on Saturday with Pablo, actually, we were chatting. Yeah, Pablo was there again, and he brought another friend with him. That was pretty awesome. And so we chatted for quite a bit. And shout out to you again. Thanks for coming out there, Pablo. It was awesome to talk with you. But yeah, from what I was seeing, he was getting a lot of the passes. They were going his way. And he was actually catching quite a bit and getting a lot of touches. And so I was curious. I was like, okay, well, maybe Guyton's maybe not. He's struggling a little bit, So I don't know.
That Guyton's an outrunner, and that's what it is. I mean, he's a guy that goes downfield. He uses his speed to his advantage. Josh Palmer is and what Richard was even saying in there too. Josh Palmer's comparison was like Keenan Allen coming out of college. So there is that chance that. Once again, it's not a bad thing to be able to have a couple guys that could get out and be good route runners. And I do think Josh Palmer looks a little bit bigger this year too. And I think he's more comfortable in the offense. So he easily could be that guy that could step into the offense and be that Keenan Allen guy again. It's just tough because Keenan Allen's kind of a elite based route runner. So it's hard to be able to have 2 of those guys in that same position. But Guyton's going to find his way. Palmer's going to get his catches. I think this offense is going to allow these wide receivers to eat. So, and then you got to even throw in Gerald Everett too in the equation here too, and he was very, very active in camp. So, it was just fun to be able to, talk a little bit about and see what's kind of going on there and the battles that are going there. But I think we should get into actually talking about our experience at camp. Once again. it was awesome to be able to have the three amigos or three bros together.
The tres hermanos.
Yeah,
Tres hermanos.
Tres hermanos over here. It was great to be able to, have us all three together and enjoy football.
That's right.
And it was
That
amazing
was so good.
to be out there. Great weather. It's good to be out of Arizona's monsoon / hot weather out there and be able to enjoy Southern California weather. So, man, the experience at camp was incredible for day one. I mean, it was everybody was just so tickled that football is back kind of thing. So it was great. But I mean, we met, Daniel and David from Locked On Chargers. Shout out to you guys. Awesome to say what's up to you guys. I met individually on day 2. I met Kyle from Chargers Chat too. And then shout out also to the Brisket Broads too.
Brisket Broads, they were a lot of fun.
Man,
that's right. Yeah,
they're cool. It's very cool to see their story and kind of see what they are. But man, diehard fans and awesome. Hopefully, we'll be able to have them on a show at some point. Do a small interview with them. But very cool to be able to meet everybody there. I know we met a couple other people too, Kyle. Right?
We met another fellow that we're actually kind of collaborating with him. Let's see, I can't remember his name of his channel here. I got it up on my DMs. He slid into my DMs the other night. We were chatting a little bit, having a little midnight pillow talk about football. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we also met Pablo, who's also in the chat too. So that was
Pablo,
awesome to be able to say what up and get a photo with you too, man. So
yeah. In fact, he and I need to get this one up, but he and I and his friend are on Chargers.com together.
That's awesome. I saw that.
There. I'm try and pull that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's another fellow. He's Chargers Sports, I think his name was on Instagram.
Nice.
And he's a really cool dude. And he really wants to like kind of meet up with people and link up and have like watch parties together and stuff. And so like he and I are probably gonna show up. And just have a good time like on that together.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's great about being at training camp, it's kind of a relaxed environment where you can really connect with everybody. And it's just great to be able to have that time where you could meet up with people that follow us here at Bolt Bros, just like Paulo there too. Pablo, excuse me. I say Paulo all the time. I don't know why, but I think it's actually because it was an old boss of mine. It was an old boss of mine. So Pablo. But it was great to be able to meet them and meet other people and meet other podcasters too, and even some of the groups too, some of the Chargers groups too. So I think it was Los Reyes. Didn't we meet some guys from Los Reyes too?
And Los Reyes,
Thunder Alley and all that.
I don't believe. You met Jonathan Osito, with the patches and stuff like that. You can't really see it, but the flag right here in the background, he has the stickers for F Your Nation, kind of thing. It's like with with emoji and a middle finger. Yep. So yeah,
that's awesome.
But then so he had his baby shower / barbecue down in Carlsbad on Saturday, and I went down there and spent some time with them.
Oh, very cool.
On all that as well. So cool. And it's really good. And I got to meet, I guess we're talking about that now too. And I got to meet a couple other people. I chatted with the High Voltage pretty close, right away. And he has this amazing old car. I think it was a 1980s car. He bought it for $500, souped it out and whatever. It has all decked out Charger stuff. If you saw it on my Instagram, I actually put a reel out there, and it has like some of the pictures that you'll see like in out there about it, like all the work he put into it, and a lot of love, a lot of time. Unfortunately, he said he's never able to actually go to the games because that's also when he goes to car shows.
Got it.
And so like he's actually out there competing for the Chargers, but in the car show capacity as opposed to.
That's very cool.
So like he's out there and it's funny too because like you'll see in the thing what he says is that like he sees a lot of people see his car and they're like, oh man, I don't like the Chargers or anything, but I love your car, dude. It's like, yeah, this is amazing, because like cool. Truth is, he says he's always seeing in those car magazines like the Raiders, like Raiders kind of cars or Raiders this, Raiders that, so he's like, man, I want to get out there and rep the Chargers there. So
awesome.
like, and he says there's not many Charger car enthusiasts out in that space. And so I think honestly, he's doing in a lot of ways a more important work by going to those car shows and repping the Chargers than coming out to the game essentially and supporting the players, which obviously it's a very good thing to do. And 100% I want more people to do that, but he's out there and trying and going to battle essentially with other, like with Raiders fans or whatever, with like competing his car against their car, and I think that's awesome.
Well, that'd be cool to be able to see that video and everything too. I know you got a bunch of different interviews with guys from that barbecue and baby shower.
More content coming your way.
That'd be really cool to be able to check that out. And I think pictures of that car are pretty amazing too. So and, and the thing that's great about this whole thing is that we really started up this channel really just to kind of connect the community even further. And like I said, we've said it many times, is that us as brothers, we talk about the Chargers all the dang time. So
all the time.
Any news that comes up or any articles that we see, we always shoot it over to each other and we chat about it and everything. So, we're always keeping an eye out for everything. So, but bottom line, it's just fun to be able to connect the community. And I know to me, it was really cool just to be at training camp to see people that follow us and people that basically, just love Chargers just like what we do. And it's amazing to be able to see how wide this fan base really is. So, but one last little bit about just kind of our experience there. It's cool to be able to see all the Chargers players going out and giving autographs too. I put a video up on my Instagram just of seeing when Justin Herbert came over to bless people with autographs too, and everybody went bonkers.
It was. Over. People were just crazy. I thought people were going to jump over the fence.
100%. It was wild. It was wild.
Nah,
but
never. No. We ain't rule breakers like freaking Raiders fans are. Come on now. Yeah.
But it was. I will say this. It was interesting how there was some person that had a Rams jersey. And they wanted Staley to sign it, and he would not sign it. He's like, sorry, that's not my team anymore.
Yeah,
I liked that he did that,
Love it. Love it.
And, look, sorry, he does not represent that team anymore. He's 100% Chargers, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. Some people may say, it's not that cool. But to me, look, he's a Charger through and through. That's the past. That's not his team anymore. And, he's moved on. I think that's pretty cool.
Yep, I love it. I love hearing something like that. Hey, man, my money comes from the Chargers, and I don't care about the Rams anymore. That's the past, and I'm bought into this team. So I love seeing that. And maybe that fan might have took that wrong, but at the same side, like, hey, man, I got a loyalty right now, and my loyalty is the Chargers. So would you guys all sign a Raiders jersey? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not going to work out.
Sure, I would. I would sign a Raiders jersey with a big middle finger or something like that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. or draw a wiener on it or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, man.
No doubt. But any other little things about what you guys experienced there? I think we kind of recapped about the experience, but we could talk more about the team specifically. I know we got some questions even coming up about some of the players, which we will be chatting about.
And definitely keep your questions coming, guys. Seriously, because we're going to time into the discussion. We already have a format set, but we'll definitely work them into these our formats. So
exactly.
Keep them coming.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Well, I was just going to talk about how this is the first week of the team being together, and they're doing this without pads on right now, and this all sounds great and grand, and we've seen all
right now.
Great plays happening and everything, but no pads are on other than helmets, obviously. And so Brandon Staley a little bit about it in some interviews. He's like, hey, it gets real when the pads are on, because that's when people could kind of hit and be a little bit more aggressive, and then they got a little bit more weight. And so it's exciting to see them out there doing their thing. But I wouldn't put, my opinion, I don't think that you should really put too much of a thought into kind of what's happening. Obviously, you can see the skill set and the skills that these players do have. But and it's very exciting. I mean, it's very, very exciting right now to see kind of what's happening, especially with this defense, because it's really showing me a lot. And number 33, Dean Leonard, is one of those guys that we'll be chatting a little bit about, which even when he wears 33, and I got a 33 jersey on right now, It still throws me off. I'm like, oh, Derwin James is out there. No, he's not out
DJ's
there.
out there. Yeah, exactly.
He is out there. He's not.
He's technically still out there.
Yeah, he's there.
He's there.
Yeah.
Dean's been killing it, and it seems like he's very much got a leg up in this position of this team, and I'm excited very, very much about him. And you know, I'll jump a little bit on him too. And he actually did an interview this morning with Guilty as Charged, and it was like a 10-minute interview, and it was actually really, really cool to listen to him. But the guy has a good skill set. He has, I think his dad played also in the CFL too, so he's got kind of a little bit of a history as a football family. He honestly, I think, has a leg up in the position to even a cornerback 5 position, which that's exciting to see. And that seems very far
That's cool
in the depth charts. But you think of like Tavon Campbell being in probably the 5 position. And I would much rather have a guy that seems like he's just really aggressive and he seems like he could learn very, very quickly. Like he got burned by Guyton on one play, and then he quickly, next time they came after him, he basically batted the pass down. And he seems like he's very much focused on this team and very much looking to try to find his niche in this defense. And this defense is dangerous to watch.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
So all these players are here doing their best to be able to try to find a niche here. And so week 2 will be interesting to watch them with pads on and see how it goes with them. But I'm excited to see Dean. And so once again, this is very early on in the camp. Anything could happen from this point and things could shift around.
Yep.
But so far, exciting to see the defense. So what are some observations you guys have seen about the defense? Start with you, Andy.
Yeah, I would just say this. The defense always looks sharp, and they looked way sharp this year going into camp. I think part of the reason being is defense is pretty simple. I shouldn't say it. It's not simple, but, you know, you usually are just more sharp because you don't have to, you know, route running, things like that do take a little more time. Timing is a little more difficult. So coming into camp, defense is always looking better just because it's kind of the same thing as like riding a bicycle. And yes, it's the same thing on the offensive side as well too. Having said that, the defense always has a leg up, so they do look sharp. I think that'll even out a little more come probably next week when next week's pads are coming on next week, right, guys?
Yep.
So
that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so when that happens, I think we're going to start really seeing people get hit and some real things will start happening. But it's good to see the defense. Like I said, guys, if we had just had a top 10 defense this year, AFC West championship for sure, and hopefully a Super Bowl berth, right? So anyhow, yep, it's good to see defense looking sharp.
Yeah.
And Dean Leonard does look good. A lot of people talk about him. He's looking pretty sharp. Alohi Gilman's looking pretty good as well too. So, and actually Jasir Taylor, people are talking about quite a bit as well. So, you know, our defensive backs look good. So anyways, that's a long-winded response.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could talk a lot about the defense too. And I think that on day 2, I got a lot more looks at the defense because day 1 was absolutely bonkers to be able to get a good perspective too of the field. But Kyle, what are some things that you observed? Because I know that you were there for also Saturday too. But what are some things that you noticed a little bit about the defense if you really got to kind of jump in there and check it out? But
well, one thing that I noticed the most was that, you know, that they really have kind of pinned Kyle Van Noy as a middle linebacker position more than anything. So I think if anything, he'll probably be that maybe like 75% of the time. And maybe 3 downs, you know, for middle linebacker, then maybe like, you know, he'll probably rotate in and out maybe for Mack or Bosa to kind of get a rest or whatever. But I don't know if they might need a rest or whatever. So, but I did see that there wasn't a whole lot of flashes, I felt like, for the defense on our day, because to be honest, like our day seemed like it was more of a special teams drills day, because they were doing a bunch of drills with the gunners and jammers, but also like punt blocking and kick blocking for field goals and stuff, because they're constantly just trying to get out there and just go for that ball. Like each one was just doing a quick little like sprint to get them on that spot. So, but that was looking pretty sharp, and you know, like they were getting past, and they were being physical, and they were able to make some good progress in that regard.
That's awesome.
So, because that was a big thing too. It's like I don't think we had a single blocked punt or field goal at all last year, did we?
Yeah, no, we didn't do well. We were pretty much dead last in special teams last year.
Yeah,
pretty much across the board, we were terrible. One thing I'll add about Kyle Van Noy too, I do think, and I do think Telesco was talking about him specifically, that right now they want to use him as edge and also middle linebacker. But you got to remember, Kyle K9's out, right? And Drew has kind of been a little bit all over the map, and I think they're just trying to move him around. I think he's going to be kind of all over the field. He will be edge rushing. He will be middle linebacker occasionally as well too. But it really will depend on how, often we run like a 5-1-5 defensive set next year. And if K9 can come in, man, if K9 can show up and show up like he did his first year, his rookie year when he looked good, hey, I would rather have Kyle Van Noy be an edge rusher if we can make that happen and not lose a beat. So, we'll see. Well, I think the good news about Kyle Van Noy is I think he's going to be pretty versatile for us moving forward. So that's a good thing to see.
And I think it might have been actually an interview that I saw with Brandon Staley, and he was talking about Kyle Van Noy, and he was saying the one thing too, he was like, look, he's out there a lot right now because he needs to get an understanding of the defense. And Drew Tranquil knows the system already. And so
exactly correct. Yep.
He needs to be out there. And so
100%.
That's one thing that he's really, really focusing on. You'll see a lot of Kyle Van Noy out there. And once again, he's one of the top linebackers in the league against pass defense too. So he's a very, very good, speedy guy to be able to really play in space. So I have no problem having him out there. So, but it's exciting to be able to have him out there as a weapon.
And guys, you guys need to see that Brandon Staley video about training camp. He just goes through and he's coaching up a lot of his players. He understands the game. We're in good hands, guys. I mean, let's just say that. He's probably one of the best defensive minds in the league. And he's not just coaching up the defense, he's coaching up the offense quite a bit as well, too. So, it's exciting to see him kind of go on both sides of the ball. And man, we're so lucky to have such a great head coach, right? I mean, look at these other teams that got first-year head coaches that are still question marks, in my opinion. We just talked about Josh McDaniels. We talked about all the other first-year head coaches, and you got a Brandon Staley. We're very lucky to have him here. So, anyways, watch that video. It's really great. It just illustrates how smart he is and how he understands both sides of the ball, and how he can coach up his team to be better, right? So it's pretty interesting video for sure.
Yeah, I really think he's a culture changer, in my opinion. And that's what he came here for. And, people from the outside, I have friends that just say, like, oh, he's kind of a dummy on basically making odd decisions in fourth down and everything. It was interesting, actually. I watched another interview yesterday that he had on ESPN before practice. And they asked him a little bit. One of the guys said, hey, like,
oh, yeah.
What's going on with the whole fourth down calls? Because it kind of makes me rip my hair out sometimes in your choices of doing that. And he says, hey, man, that was last year's team.
That was last year. Yep.
We'll see what it is this year. I think things are, and I've said, I don't think he's going to be as aggressive on fourth down calls, possibly at the time when it's really necessary. Because, look, the one thing I came out of this week of training camp and being at a couple training camps, day 1, day 2, I think the defense is winning, and I think the defense is here. Like, I think we have Brandon Staley's defense. So my thing is, if we have a defense that can stop other offenses, last year we didn't have that. I mean, we were in a situation where it just kept the ball in your best player's hands, which is Justin Herbert, and it could be a totally different offense, or it could be a totally different strategy this year. Brandon Staley is going to throw out where we might not be as aggressive on those fourth down calls. So he might be kind of a little bit more standard, but fourth and Staley was fantastic, Pablo, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
So,
hey, that might have to be another shirt, fourth and Staley. I like that.
Yeah, that's right. Remember, put that one, get that one down.
That might have to be another shirt for us, guys. Bolt up, don't punt. That's coming soon. And Pablo, you did ask about Jerry Tillery. You may want to throw up his question right there, Kyle, if you want to highlight it. But
well, before we go into that one though, Aether has a question for you, specifically to you, Andrew.
Okay,
yeah, here we go. Let me pull that.
Yeah,
up
pull
here.
that up here.
So,
here you go. This one's for you.
So,
pressure, Andy. Here you go.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this as a possible early in the season, teams will double team Bosa to see if Matt can prove it, if he has what it takes. Your thoughts on this, my brother?
Yeah, Hey, that's a great question. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they're going to double team Bosa anymore at all. I think they're going to have to play each of these guys, and they're going to have to chip them as much as they possibly can. Look, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Khalil Mack's interview? I think it was day 1 or day 2.
Yeah. I think it was day 1. Yeah.
Was it day 1? Was it day 1? Yeah. When he walked off after that, that guy asked him the question, "Hey, what motivates you? What makes you hungry?" He's like, "I'm going to show you what makes me hungry." Just walked off.
Yeah.
And and the thing that has been interesting to me about seeing Khalil Mack specifically is a lot of people. It's weird. They've kind of given up on him. Oh, he got injured, yada yada.
Yeah.
He's washed up. They're not respecting him. So I could see your question, but I think he's going to start dry humping fools next year, right? I mean, he's going to knock the guy liner off of Derek Carr game 1, and he's
1,000%.
He's all gas, no brakes, man. And so I think they might still try and double team Bosa, but I tell you, after a while, they're going to realize, okay, what do? We probably need 2 tight ends to chip, and maybe a running back or a fullback to hopefully block Bosa or Mack, right? Because you have to remember, Brandon Staley's defense, really, the defensive lineman's job is just to jam the middle, right? That's it. You just block him and don't let them get blocks going one way or the other. And then the edge rushers are supposed to get to the quarterback. That's their job.
Yep.
And so really, man, I can just see both of them having such great years. We talked about this even last week. So I think if they double team Bosa, then Khalil Mack is just going to destroy somebody, right? So
yeah, 1,000%.
You're going to have to get creative. And that's the matchup problem. So I hope that answered your question, Aether. If it doesn't, maybe repeat the question. We can come back to it a little later on too.
Well, just to add to that, so Austin Eckler had a part of his interview. He was chatting a lot about the defensive line now that's currently on the team. In comparison to last year, he's like, there's a bigger, thicker looking defensive line now, and it's making it harder for me to run against our defense. And so he's noticing it, and even talked about the Anthony Lynn defensive line and how different they were as a defensive line to comparison to year 2 of Brandon Staley. What does that defensive line do? That middle defensive line, Sebastian Joseph-Day, Austin Johnson, who seems to be pretty much a lock in the position for the 2 defensive tackles on our line.
Yep.
Well, what does that do? Well, if those guys can create pressure, which we know they can, that's going to bring up Bosa and Mack to be able to just go around, Kyle Van Noy to come in, whomever it might be, to be able to go after the quarterback and create more pressure. It's going to be very, very hard with this defensive line, and easily could be, in my opinion, I think it could be potentially top 5, top 10.
It's crazy.
Minimum, in my opinion, defensive line in the league. So it's a scary situation for whoever is going to try to go against us. And once again, with McDaniels going up against us on week 1, it's going to be very tough to be able to find a way to be able to block all these guys, because I don't think our O-line is that good by any means. So it'll be a big statement game, in my opinion, week 1. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very, very hard to be able to block both Bosa and Mack with this D-line. So that's my opinion of where it is.
And one other thing too, I know Pablo did ask about Tillery, and I did a video on that, that he could potentially be getting, moved to potentially the Browns. I think it will be interesting to see what happens. Personally, when I look at our defensive line, I just don't see a spot for Tillery, right? And I know Morgan Fox was also taking first snaps as well too. So I think Tillery's just, I don't know. I think they're going to try and deal him away, but we'll see what happens, right? And maybe they won't get enough for him, so why let him go? So I think it's really going to boil down to what we're actually going to get passing him off. So I don't think a 7th rounder will cut it, right? I think they like Tillery enough to say a 7th rounder is kind of a waste, but maybe a 6th,
it's absolute waste.
Maybe a 6 or maybe 2 7s, who knows, right? But we'll see, right? I mean, there are teams in the league, when injuries start occurring in training camp, okay, they're getting more and more desperate. We need somebody. So that's when you're going to start seeing people get dealt off specifically. So.
Yep, 100%. And just to even talk a little bit about Jerry Tillery, apparently there was a close call with Justin Herbert in training camp to where he was going to get hit by Jerry Tillery.
Yep.
Now, if there was a point to where we're going to be frustrated with Jerry Tillery and he hits Justin Herbert and gets him injured in training camp, that would be that would just make it even worse to be able to have a player do something like that. And Tillery to a guy that a lot of us that we just kind of say, hey man, I don't think he's got a position in this team anymore. But you also look at the opposite and say, maybe he's actually going to be a little bit more aggressive towards, the quarterback this season. But his fault wasn't, I think, there was a lot of faults in his game, but at the same side, the big fault was that he was terrible against the run. And he's more of a pass rusher than a run defensive line kind of guy. So I don't know, but that's kind of a scary situation to be able to hear that, Herbert might have got injured or potentially hit by Tillery with no pads on. Like, it just frustrates me to hear something like that. We can't have anything like that. So, but we'll see where it goes with Tillery. I mean, I think that's something that's down the line. It'll be probably after week 1, week 2 of preseason games where you're going to kind of find out what's going to be his fate, because if he doesn't see a fit in there, and I mean, once again, we've hearing good things about Joe Gaziano, I think is his name.
Gaziano,
Covington. He batted a pass down. We're hearing things about Fehoko doing really well. Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph Day. I mean, we got
Morgan Fox.
I mean, that's a tough position right now to be able to have anything going on. And you're even hearing as an end position, Chris Rump is actually doing real well too.
Right.
I mean, Bosa is not calling him a string bean anymore. Now he's calling him an asparagus stock.
Asparagus stock, yeah.
So, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, what is he talking about? Oh, he's talking about Rump. That's right, because he used to call him a beanpole, right? So he's not an asparagus stock. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I like Joey Bosa. He's got a good personality for sure.
Oh, he's great. He's a great dude. So I mean, the thing about it is, I think our defense is looking phenomenal. I feel like they really truly won week 1. I mean, it sounds like on Saturday, Herbert and Allen had a mid-season kind of form situation in their offense, so they were connecting like they normally do. And so but this defense is great, and I'm excited about it. And to be honest, I wanted to see early on a lot of like hype plays, and there was hype plays where like Bryce Callahan batted a pass where Michael Davis got the interception out of it, and there was a lot of tip passes happening too. And that's exciting to see that these guys are really getting after the ball and seeing the ball really well and putting their hands up and putting their hands on the ball so other players could get interceptions, which once again, I'll say, I keep hearing a lot about Michael Davis this camp. So I think there's a little bit of a chip on his shoulder right now. So,
well, I think he's read what people are saying, right? Is he needs to step up. And, he's getting paid $7 million. And right now he's our QB 4, cornerback 4. Yeah. Right. So $7 million for that. Right. Yep. I mean, come on now, so, and we got some rookies that look pretty good this year. Right. So, he better step up or you ain't going to have a spot. And again, remember last year we didn't have a lot of depth. So he was pretty much, all right, he's got a role. And by the way, I know this specifically because he went to BYU and he was actually sat his last year at BYU because he got complacent. And Bronco Mendenhall would not start him anymore. He said, sorry. Yeah, just because you're a senior doesn't mean you have a spot. And he just assumed he would. That's why he was an undrafted free agent and he had to battle his way back. So this is very similar and reminiscent to his college career. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds. So I hope he steps up. I really do.
Agreed.
Actually, I had a couple thoughts here. I was just looking at PFF and I'll pull this up on the screen here.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys can see it too well. It looks like kind of small. Let me zoom in a little bit.
There we go. It's a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. There you go. That's much better. So, okay. So I was just looking at, so going back to the other, the question about Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. So, currently for week 1, this is the kind of the lineup that PFF is showing, for the Chargers, that we see Bosa is facing off the left tackle and Mack is facing off on the right tackle. So 100%, that is exactly what he was saying, is that Mack is probably going to get double teamed by the right tackle and tight end, a little chip block there
for sure,
to kind of shake him up. Yeah. And then we got Bosa over here just going up against Miller, I believe his name is. Chris Miller is his name? Colton, sorry.
Yeah, Colton Miller, yep.
Yeah. Colton Miller. And so then Bosa just got to get past that guy with probably a little like a halfback or a full block, little chip block. But that's about it. And I think it's going to be a big year for Bosa, though, because he's, they're all going to be focusing on Mack, who's a 3-time All-Pro player. So, I mean, what do you expect there?
Exactly.
And then going back into Tillery, he's not even on here.
No,
no, they put Morgan Fox, and that's what we've seen already in the training camp is that Tillery he's on second team most of the time.
Yep.
And that they're putting Morgan Fox out there like above him like 90% of the time.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we were discussing earlier, right? Drew Tranquill understands the linebacker position already for the Chargers. Tillery already knows what to do defensively. So they're working out people like Fox and some of these other folks that are just starting to figure it out. I mean, Fox obviously knows Brandon Staley's defense because of his time at the Rams, but my point is that again, letting other people in there, all right, they're performing better than Tillery. You can kind of move down the list. Plus, you probably want to keep him healthy because if they are going to trade him off, they do not want him to get hurt at all. So, if there are some bites that look like they're coming through, they want to keep him healthy for trade. Trade bait for sure.
Absolutely.
There was another question I saw. By the way, thanks for throwing that up there, Kyle. That was pretty cool on PFF. I like
awesome.
that. Those are really good looking at little set. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Who I was watching a video. They were talking about Leatherwood. They're talking about putting Leatherwood on the right side. I think a right tackle maybe.
He's terrible.
Man, he got burned last year.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, if he's up against Bosa is just going to smash that fool.
Yeah.
He looks stupid last year so many times. So, I mean, I really think that, we'll do well against the Raiders, well, I mean, if they use Leatherwood. So, we'll see what they end up doing. So
I'm gonna look up and see if Leatherwood's even on the Raiders this year. I don't think he is anymore though.
No, he is. Yeah, he's there.
He still is?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's on
there. Yeah, they're just trying to I think they're just working him out right side, maybe left side as well too. So he's kind of been a bust for them. We'll just leave it at that, right? I think they expected a lot more from him and he hasn't really performed. So
I mean, are any Raiders players nothing but busted? They just all busted, dude. It's like
they all busted.
The busted bros. That's all I know. Yeah,
that's right.
But maybe we should talk a little bit about the cornerbacks though, too, right? I mean, if we think about our cornerback situation, Callahan will probably be our slot guy. Davis, man, I don't know. I just feel like we got so much depth, guys, right? And I keep looking at what we have, and Tavon Campbell, man, I don't know. I don't know. I know there was a question who might get let go. Tavon might be a guy personally. Because here's the thing. We kind of had to have him last year. Yep. We don't need him this year. Right. And so, he could find a position somewhere else and he's talented. I mean, he's got the speed. But he got burned a lot last year. Right. Let's throw a number 20, so.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. And that's probably the best. And once again, I think the question was based upon the most talented player too. And obviously Tavon did some plays last year, but he did get burned a lot too. And I mean, when you got Michael Davis and you got Asante Samuel Jr., who sounded like he's having a great camp this so far. Bryce Callahan's making plays. Obviously you got JC Jackson, who's been doing good things and batting passes down. So then you got Dean Leonard.
Big time.
When Dean's starting to sound like he's really getting his legs going, and he sounds like and he even talked a little bit about how the pads are going to be on next week. And he's like, does it make it harder or easier for you? And he's like, nah, it makes it easier for me when we have pads on, just because I think they could be a little bit more aggressive as a player. You start hearing about Mark Webb even making some plays. And I think that
Mark Webb, yep.
There's even JT Woods. There's even little chats about him. There's Jasir Taylor, also another too. So that whole cornerback, there is a big battle going on there, and what players are going to be on there. And it's going to be interesting to see when the actual 53-man roster comes out, who's all going to be on the team in that position. Defensive line and a cornerback position are going to be ones that you're going to really start seeing. Like, there's going to be some guys that could get let go. There was even talks. I can't remember who we were chatting with, but we were talking about, it might've been actually one of the podcasters about Covington potentially being a guy that gets let go. And he only has like $1 million salary or something with the Chargers, but that could be another guy that you even look at too, because the defensive line is pretty stacked too. So
Guys, let's say this. I will tell. I promise you this. When we release guys, any other team in the league is going to scoop them up ASA freaking P because they know how stacked our team is, right? So,
oh yeah.
And look, everyone knows we are always a talented team every year.
Yep.
Every year we're talented, but we just don't put it together, right? And so,
yeah,
again,
something happens.
It's going to be interesting to see, and we're going to lose some really good talent, but I think the right things are going to be done, right? I mean, I think our defensive line is going to be absolutely rough. Boy, but I can see Tavon Campbell. That would be my pick. I know I saw the question way down the list, but Tavon Campbell was the person I think we may let go, which I don't think would be a bad thing for us specifically. So at least that's my pick right now.
We could move on and talk about the offense because I know we've been gushing about the defense.
We have been, but part of the reason why it's so exciting that our defense is actually looking good.
That's it.
Right.
Because we were so bad last year and it was so frustrating. I was like, oh my God. Guys, remember, we scored 29 points offensively, but we gave up 27 points.
Yeah.
Every damn game.
Yeah.
So every game was a shootout. If we can just, again, be a top 10 defense, forget about it. We're going to put teams to sleep. They're going nighty-night. Nighty-night. They're gone. So anyway, I'm excited. See you later.
They're gonna wish that they never got out of bed when they come to the freaking SoFi Stadium. You know,
dude,
it's like shoot. That's gonna be great.
Hopefully, week 1 we could do that because most Raiders fans are asleep by halftime because they had too much booze in their system up leading up to that point. So.
Hey, what's that sack dance that Joey Bosa was doing last year? It was Call of Duty? Yeah, the Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, he was teabagging.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I want to see him do that. I want to see him do that a bunch this year. The teabagging on the quarterback.
So
my gosh, it was so amazing. So amazing. Yep. I was thinking about that this morning. I don't know why I thought about that this morning, but I was like, man,
so funny.
Yep. Gosh, I think way too much about the Chargers. It's kind of a sad thing.
It's pretty bad.
No, it's all good.
Dude, I was even talking to my wife Marissa about, when week 1 comes around, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sleep. So it's like,
no joke, guys.
Right, dude. Well, I had a hard time sleeping just for opening day camp.
Opening day camp, yeah.
I was like, I was struggling. I was like, I didn't sleep that well. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm like, this is like Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, he goes, 'Twas the night before football,
and all through the house,
not a jersey. Like all the jerseys were laid out, like
looking like the first day of school with your first day school fit.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right.
It was tough, but it's exciting. I can't wait.
Hey, Kyle, throw up that question. I think this would be a good.
Yeah, I think it was a good segue.
Yeah, this is a good segue to the offense. And again, going back to also the question about other people that may be gone, I think Joshua Kelly could be the guy, sadly. I think he's good, but he hasn't proven himself in the league at all. And there's been some really good things about our undrafted running back, Kevin Marks from Buffalo.
Yeah.
A lot of people like him. And Larry Roundtree has looked a little better, but, man, I don't know, There was one other thought I wanted to talk about in the backfield is we got 2 fullbacks, right? We have Gabe Neighbors and obviously, oh my gosh, what am I talking about? Horvath, yeah. And I think it was Joe
Lombardi. Sweet mustache, by the way.
Oh yeah, woo! Yeah, big old caterpillar. Dude. It's like, oh my gosh, you got a panel van? What's going on with that?
That's great.
But here's one thing Joe Lombardi talked about that I thought was a really good point. When it's an obvious pass play, 3rd and long, and you need an extra second because you got corners and corner blitzes and defensive ends, rushing after the quarterback. You want a bigger body in there to take that hit, right? You don't want someone like an Austin Eckler, and that's really where a Horvath's going to come in. And look, Horvath was a linebacker. That dude is a beast. He looks good.
Yep.
And man, I totally think he could be the guy, right? So again, when we start talking about running backs, man, Kelly might be gone, man. We've given him a lot of shots. I think Roundtree will have another year just because this is his 2nd year anyways, right? So anyhow, so that's just kind of my take. So Kelly could be a guy that we may not carry on, or maybe they deal him off, right? You never know. They may try and get a pick out of him.
Yep. And Tom Telesco does have kind of a history of keeping guys from Buffalo too. We've had a couple backs from Buffalo, and once again, Khalil Mack's from Buffalo, by the way, too. So that's where he went to school also. So
absolutely.
There is this thing that I think Tom Telesco loves finding guys from Buffalo. So who knows? I mean, Kevin Marks could be that guy that could really add more depth to that running back position. And, bringing up Kelly is actually another point that I didn't think about that because he is a guy that was another Anthony Lynn guy, by the way, too. So Roundtree is probably got a leg up, in my opinion, just because he was drafted under Staley. So who knows? We'll see how that pans out. This is going to be a tough 53-man roster. There's going to be some tough cuts.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be easy. So
it won't be, but you never know, right? He might do better somewhere else, and again, he wasn't getting a lot of reps. And again, we start talking about Tillery. We start talking about some of these other players that are going to be let go. Guys, at the end of the day, giving them the ability to play somewhere else is a good thing for them in their career. I know it's sad to say, oh, hey, these people are leaving. But at the end of the day, guys, look, if you're not going to get reps here, you could get reps somewhere else while you still have, a body to perform. So, you never know. You never know how it's going to play out.
Yep. Agreed.
Tough decisions.
Yep. And that's the thing with the offense. I mean, talking about the offense, we chatted a little bit briefly about the offense. I mean, it's exciting to see Herbert out there throwing the ball, throwing Herbo bombs, everybody chanting MVP. Man, he's just a true leader for this team. And, Herbert and Allen midseason form looking great on multiple 20-yard plays. The running backs are looking pretty solid too. Josh Palmer's looking bigger. There's a lot
Guyton's looking good too, by the way. A lot of people talking about Guyton.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Guyton's looking bigger too.
Michael Bandy is kind of a guy, and I don't know why I kind of have a little bit of a desire to see more from that guy. He had, I think, if it's right, I think he went to San Diego or University of San Diego.
He did go to San Diego. Yep, he went to San Diego.
He had a great career there, and now it's a different type of school. It's not basically one of the major schools for football, but there's something about a guy that has huge amount of stats, great amount of catches out there that just kind of makes me think like he could find his way somewhere or another. And he did play a little bit for the Chargers last year. I think he might have been in the Texans game, I believe.
Yeah, I think he was.
And I think he might have been doing some punt returns and everything too. So there's a lot of little things like that and players in the back end that I think that are exciting to watch. But one that to me kind of stood out a little bit was Gerald Everett. And he seemed to have a pretty good connection with Herbert.
Big time.
So
he's going to have a big year.
Yep. He's going to have a big year. And once again, this offense is going to eat. And I think it's going to be an amazing offense to look at. And he even lined up in the Wildcat, I believe, one time too. So he's got this speed ability that he could really kind of be that dude. Weird to think about a tight end being able to be that way. But Alan talked a lot about Gerald Everett saying he's just a hard dude to tackle. He's a very hard guy to tackle. And so big body guy. And I've been saying for the longest time, we need a guy that could get us yards after catch. And I think he might be our guy for that. So
yeah, totally.
I'm excited to see where number 7 is going to be for this offense. And it's weird to see a tight end. And I think Kyle was like, that was weird to be able to see a tight end at number 7.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, what?
that is an odd number too.
I honestly, going into that, like, I feel like it's such a weird rule change that like they can have whatever number they basically want now. And I'm so used to being tight ends being like for like the 80s and like seeing like defensive backs in the 20s and all of that, like that kind of system, and linemen at 90s, for the defense and stuff. So it's just like, all right, I guess we'll just have to, do a little bit more research on all these players and stuff, and remember like what numbers they are, like because they're whatever, they got carte blanche on that,
Yep.
So
right, yeah, it's an interesting thing to see. Interesting thing.
So did we answer this more too, like because this could go into also what Richard was saying,
correct?
Al. Yeah, because it's kind of ties both of those in together. It's like, who would the most talented player?
I'll add one more person
to not make the team.
Okay, Joe Reed, wide receiver that we got from Virginia. Joe Reed was kind of a lot of people. In fact, I can't remember when we drafted him, but a lot of people thought he would be really big and a good wide receiver. He could also be a slot wide receiver. I know we talked about that earlier as well, too, that he could be a slot wide receiver. And I know he was also going to be there for special teams, but he hasn't really stepped up, right? And that's a big part of it. Look, this is you need to perform, right? If you want to be out there and play, you have to perform. Just like any other job, right? You got to do your job correctly. And Joe Reed has not stepped up for whatever reason. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him specifically. He was, I don't know, he could be another guy on the offensive side that we may let go. We'll see what happens with that. But Joe Reed's a guy.
Did you have somebody else kind of in mind, Kyle, on that? Because I know we chatted about a bunch of other players already on that question.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to think, honestly. I mean, I think, honestly, Trayvon Campbell is definitely one of the guys that I would put out there. I mean, he's talented, but he's also shaky and shoddy at that point, at that regard. And so I don't see him actually sticking with the team for too much longer. I'm also worried about, Joshua Kelly might be another one of those things. He was actually on Mills on the mic, who another person that we met at training camp. She runs the fan of the year thing, and so for the Chargers and stuff. So it's actually a really good. I don't know. I kind of want to listen to what they were talking about, because he did talk about training camp at that podcast. And I would highly encourage the rest of you guys to do the same thing and watch them. Also, quickly, wanted to give a brief shout out to Richie Riche, who's joined us again. This one, he has his own show where he does kind of an AFC West show, and he has
very cool
the Broncos people representing the Broncos, Chiefs, and the Raiders and Chargers on there.
Awesome.
And so eventually, we're kind of talking behind the scenes to get a collab going where we can jump in there too, like to have other rotational hosts and stuff. Cool. So, and maybe we'll get him in here as well. Like maybe when we play the Broncos, we'll have a little banter going back and forth.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I know. We had one other question. Aether, I think, brought up one question about.
He had one for you specifically. Yeah,
exactly.
So he's bringing the heat to you, bro.
He does it every time. I know he's talking about the 3-step drops, the aggressive. So he's thinking.
Oh, here it is. Yeah,
49ers.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So about the 49ers aggressive defense, my question, do you see Herbert using a 3-step drop going to this matchup? Let me see what your thoughts, my bro. 3-step drops, that means if there's going to be a big pass rush, you want to get the ball out of your hand quickly.
Screen pass, something.
Screen pass.
Maybe not screen pass. I'm just quick.
Well, yeah.
In the flat.
Slants, cross routes, curl routes, something quick to get out of your hand. So and I've been a big fan, if I was a coach or an offensive coordinator, if I'm seeing that my line is not doing the job, you got to get the ball out of the person's hand quickly. It's kind of like Tom Brady. If you watch him, he's a master of getting the ball out of his hand quickly. Makes his O-line look a lot better, in my opinion. So going into, say, for instance, the Raider game, if they do have a couple good defensive ends, I think they have a pretty fair defensive line. To be honest, though, I think we have a very, very good offensive line, which we'll chat about here shortly after this. I don't really know. I mean, I think it's all situational, in my opinion. I'm not going to say he's going to always use a 3-step drop, because, I mean, there could be a 5-step drop. He's going to play possibly in which Herbert came from the college being mostly a shotgun quarterback, in which we did that a lot last year too. So it's all situational on what you want to do for the amount of drops that you want to go for the quarterback. 3-step drop is very much quick pass kind of stuff. Do we have guys that could do that and fit in those gaps to be able to get quick catches? Absolutely. Keenan Allen's one of those guys that could be that dude. Obviously, even to say, I've said years ago, I felt like Austin Eckler should have been lining up as a wide receiver pretty frequently, which he did a little bit last year too. And obviously, Austin Eckler is very, very dangerous, which, once again, watching him at the camp was pretty amazing to watch how fast he is and how low he gets to the ground.
Yeah.
The guy is a tough player. He's a very smaller guy, but very compact when he runs. And so it's very hard to be able to see him with 6 foot plus guys kind of being around him to know where he's at. So he's a very elusive guy too. So who knows? If the defense obviously gets aggressive that we're playing against, 3-step drops work. Screen passes could also work too. So
I'll add a little bit to that too, James. I know Carlos here asked a question about DeAndre Carter. Are we going to use him in offensive calls? I think he could be a guy that's perfect for that, right? Very short, little drop passes. I mean, he was very prolific at Washington. So he's listed as a wide receiver 5. I think he will be used. So I think he will be doing that. And one thing I will add to Aether's comment and question, and then I know ERB has a question as well too, that Herbert has been focusing heavily on his footwork, footwork. And that is really cool because, look, at the end of the day, a lot of quarterbacks are still figuring out how to throw the ball correctly. He doesn't have that problem. He does not have that problem. What he needs to focus on is his footwork, and that's really what made Tom Brady so good as well, too. If you were looking at him through his entire career, he did a great job staying in the pocket and dishing the ball away. So I think it just goes to show you how good Justin Herbert really is at going into year 3. If he's focusing on footwork, and that's like the thing he needs to focus on, boy, talk about sky's the limit for some guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's going to be really interesting to see. So, but yeah, I do think that short yardage players, DeAndre Carter could come in. We could see a lot more with Guyton, some of these smaller guys in the backfield.
Yeah, and I mean, Carter did get a touchdown also too recently in training camp this week too. So he's going to get involved for sure. And Richie also brought up about run RPO too, and that's reason why that we kept talking about why Pat White kind of got on here too. So he might actually kind of implement a little bit more of an RPO side of things on the offensive play call. So there's a lot of things that we could do with this offense. And I think we got a lot of players that could be those X factor guys. Like, I mean, even to say with the Wildcat and seeing Gerald Everett even running a couple plays as the Wildcat. I mean, this could be an interesting looking offense all around. So
yeah, I really hope they get more creative. I really felt like they held back Justin Herbert quite a bit last year. I don't think they're going to do that again this year. This is the second year. I think he feels more confident and capable. So I would love to see RPO. I'd love to see Wildcat. Mix it up. You got a running quarterback that is as good as anybody else, right? In the league. We just don't want him to get hurt and take hits. So anyways.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Definitely talk about that even further.
It'll be interesting to see where this offense develops after year 2. I did want to say one thing that I observed on day 2 and just thinking about, hey, we're going to have a lot of pressure in front of us. And I think we know and understand where our weakness is on our offensive line, specifically the right side. One thing that I noticed with the offensive linemen is that they actually separated the right guard and the right tackle from, center, left guard, and left tackle. And they keyed in specifically with certain players to do blocking and specifically run blocking drills. And
Correct.
So they actually had Zion with Trey Pipkins for one package. And then they had Norton with Hymas as another package. Now, I'm not saying that those are the starting right guard, right tackles, but if you start kind of thinking about, we spent a first round pick on Zion, he's probably going to be in there. Now you got Trey Pipkins as the right tackle with his package. So I don't know if that's a sign of things to come, that they're really trying to put Trey Pipkins as the right tackle officially. And then just having Norton as the second right tackle, which I'd be okay with. Because Brandon Hymas didn't really have too much time on the field that I remember last year. So it's just kind of an interesting thing to see, but they're really, really focusing on their right side to make sure they get the pass or run blocking drills situated on that right side. So our left side is Pro Bowl level. So those are all Pro Bowl guys. So that
best center in the league too, right? So
100% and one of the top tackles in the league, and Filer's an absolute stud. So really focusing on that right side is key for us. So it was just really interesting to see that they separated them from the other linemen.
Yeah. That'll be very interesting to see how that plays out as well too. A lot of people still think it's Trey, but I don't know. Storm did all right too. So, but hey, we'll see. It's going to shake out when pads come on, and then I'll be honest with you, Zion's going to start. I mean, he's going to be our starter. He's a first round pick. He will be our starter. And so he probably has some say in it as well too. Okay, I think Trey works better with me, and I promise you're going to probably see Zion there. and they'll work Storm, and then they'll work Trey, and they'll determine who works better with Zion. And that might be part of the deciding factor of who gets that position in right tackle.
Yep,
so,
absolutely. Just like Richie Rich said, he's just trying to find the right 5 that fits together. And,
correct.
You know, it's a big puzzle. I mean, we obviously know what the left 3 are going to be. I mean, that's set in stone, in my opinion. That's a lock. Find those other 2 on the other side. And I mean, Zion's probably the 4th, and then who's the 5th? And so which guy can Zion mesh with, basically, at this point? So it's an interesting thing. But that's an observation I saw from camp. One thing that we didn't dabble on too, and I know we chatted a little bit about talented players that could get cut, but we didn't talk about also the other running back that we did draft, Spiller. Spiller looked good. He looked good out there, catching the ball,
looking really good,
running really well.
Yep.
He seems like he's blocking very well from what I'm seeing. I mean, I really, really hope that we got that RB2 for sure. Now, I really, really hope we do.
Agreed.
So I think that it's going to be interesting to see him in preseason game to see how he does.
I think the other thing too, I think it was a number of different interviews. They're talking about Austin Eckler, and they're like, no, he's going to get the same amount of touches that he got last year, but they just got to find out who the second running back is going to be, right?
Yep.
And again, when we go back to people being cut, right, I think that's kind of why Kelly might not be there, because I do think they'll give Roundtree another year. And Kelly's had plenty of shots, and he just hasn't performed, right? So, you never know. And then I think Marks is getting some really good marks. No pun intended.
There you go.
But I mean, that's my point, right? So again, you got Horvath, and I don't know. So it'll be really good to see what happens with that for sure.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Boy, you got a lot of good questions coming in here, guys. This is awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, we have really, really good one.
Very good questions.
And what's the name? Richie had a big one over there too, because he was talking about the offense and and he and I were going back and forth in the chat. Talking about how if we are going to have the similar offense, and we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier on before he jumped in, but Brandon Staley said that going forward on 4th downs, it was a last year's team situation.
Correct.
And and one thing that I wanted to share with everybody else here, is just that, I don't think that we are going to go for it on 4th down as much as we did last year at all.
It definitely was aggressively.
Because, and the biggest thing is because, look, bottom line is we had the bottom 5 special teams and bottom 5 defense last year. So, but this year, I believe we have successfully flipped the script, at least on paper. So if we actually did make that happen on the field, then 100,000%, we're not going to need to go for it on 4th down
100%.
because we're going to be, converting 1st downs to 1st downs, 2nd downs to 2nd downs. And that was one of the arguably worst stats that we had, is that Justin Herbert was bad at 1st and 2nd downs. Yeah. And so, but, when the pressure was on 3rd down, he would convert to a 1st down. 4th down, he would convert to a 1st down, which is, it's always a very scary position to be in, so, and I'm just wondering, it's okay, I think that we are going to see a completely different offense, at least by that regard, let alone play calling, because, we got a whole bunch of different coaches involved. And so it's going to be really fun to see what our team's going to be like next year for that.
Yeah. And that's the truth. I mean, I think that we have a totally different defense, totally different team, and I think even to say that interview that he had on ESPN, it kind of made it sound like he's like, hey, man, last year we built up the offense and we got it to where we want it to be. Now we got the defense of where we want it to be. And so I think that this year is going to be much different on that 4th down aspect. I think offensively now, having a second year under same offense and to be able to grow out this offense to be even better potentially too. I mean, it's really not, there's only a couple wrinkles that we added to this offense to make it even stronger and better. But I think the thing is that with us, we have a defense that could stop other people's offensive now, offenses now. I couldn't, for some reason, couldn't say that.
Their offense. Yes. Their offense.
Yeah. Yes. And so I don't think we really have to go for it that much on 4th down. I love the fourth and Staley attitude, but I think that will be very much situational on those fourth downs. And I think my personal opinion, I think they will do that against the Chiefs more than any other team in the NFL, because I think they know they need to be able to keep that ball out of Mahomes' hands as much as they possibly can and keep the ball with our best player too. So who knows? We'll see where it goes. Thanks, Richie Rich.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Today, Junior.
Junior.
Today, Junior. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's throw up Aether's question here. I'm very sad about the video. No, it's interesting.
I got that.
I never quite understood. Again, I'm a Charger fan. I grew up in San Diego. Look, Spanos has tried to keep them in San Diego. They did absolutely everything they possibly could do to keep them there. They had to make a business decision, right? And that's unfortunately part of the game. So, I don't think there's really a whole lot you can talk about there. But, if people are going to be bitter, they're going to be bitter, right? They can sit back and be angry. And I just don't see a point in living a life and walking around with anger like that, right? Move on, right? Business decisions have to be made. Companies have to make decisions all the time about employees. Right. This is no different, right? So, people got to get over it. That's the way I view it.
Yeah. For me, obviously, I'm out there talking to people about that a lot. Because I go to all these events, the barbecues with all the diehard fans, of course. And so, and I try to get what their opinions are about the whole thing. I know it's kind of late to the party because they've already moved. They've been here for 5 years now. Dang, that's wild to think.
Crazy.
5 years. It's already
Isn't that nuts?
Holy smokes.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. Shoot. Dang. Anyways, but yeah, I think they've tried to get a new stadium in San Diego since the late 90s, I believe. And I saw a video where it was just the history where just they kept trying to find a new place, a new location, but they kept getting turned down or kept moving around or whatever. It's like that. Eventually, the Spanos family, unfortunately, realized that the writing was just on the wall. They were not going to get a stadium there. And they had no other option. The one thing that I do know that was the worst part about the death blow was the vote that they had, number one. And that vote was basically kind of packaged in a way where the city of San Diego, basically where most of the fans were, could not vote on it.
Yeah.
And that was really the death blow. It's it was all the surrounding cities and counties of people voting on it that was going to be making the decision, and they chose not to. And so because of that, the NFL moved them. And that's the bottom line too, is that the NFL is really the real villain here for the Chargers, because they wanted another team to be in LA. Correct. And they did not want the Raiders to be there.
Yep.
So with that said, I believe that it would have been really cool to see the Chargers at Vegas, because thematically that would have made a lot of sense. The city of lights and electricity, all these different colors and neon lights and stuff, and that would work awesome for the Chargers. I mean, I even have one of those things, Bolt City. That would look really awesome in a neon light kind of fashion, and then the Allegiant Stadium would not look like a toilet bowl or a Roomba or something. Like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that stadium is
lastly,
expensive too, right? So yeah,
exactly. And the thing that I would say too is that it's 2 hours away.
Yeah.
It's San Diego to LA.
Yeah.
You can get on a bus, you can get on a train, get in your car. It is not moving out of state.
Yes. It's still in Southern California.
It's still in Southern California.
Yeah.
The Chargers are the Southern California team. I don't care what you say. They've never left the Southern California region.
Yep.
Just like the Niners. They have never left the Northern California team or region. They are the Northern California team.
Yep.
Those two teams are the only team that matter in California, period. I don't care. The Rams, that's like your ex-girlfriend. They left, and then you call them back. Oh, I need a booty call. Come and get me. It's like, can you? It's coming it's the same thing with the Raiders. She comes back. You know why? You know why people are Raiders fans? It's because everybody likes a crazy girlfriend because they good in bed.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the Raiders are. They are the crazy ex-girlfriend, and you call them when you need to get that fix. You know what I'm saying? So
man, that went some wild direction right there.
That went some dark path. Hey, I know a good therapist for you, bro. I'm gonna give you that number, dude. So he set me straight on a few things. So
we let that go as long as we could just to see. We'll get that clip. We'll clip that out. Clip it.
We'll clip that out.
Make that a separate clip.
No,
that's funny.
Hey, I mean that's just the truth, man. I'm just speaking the truth, and I'm speaking like straight from my head.
Yeah.
Like I ain't trying to spit facts out here. I'm trying to spit funnies, you know.
Well,
yeah.
In the one thing too, and so I broke down and I actually talked about wanting to do a whole video just talking about, are these Chargers fans coming back from San Diego to watch the Chargers now, the LA Chargers. And look, I get it. I was born in San Diego. There's always that rivalry with San Diego and LA. They hate each other. And I get it. I 100% get it. Kyle's point, dude, they didn't leave Southern California, 2 hours away. Like, I was a season ticket holder living in Los Angeles, driving down to San Diego all the time to go watch games. And it was 100+ games, playoffs, everything like that. And it was no problem at all for me to do that. And I'm a fan of the Chargers. Like, I love that they were in San Diego. I love that they're still in LA. I love that they're in an area that we could make it happen. I'm in Arizona. John apparently is in Arizona too. We're 6 hours away. I drove out there for training camp to go to their 6-hour drive to be able to go watch them just practice. And they're still in a close proximity. Even when they were talking about possibly moving out of San Diego, there was talks about going to San Antonio too.
Yep.
That would have been a big difference for everybody. That would have been a totally different fan base at that
That'd
point.
be huge.
Yeah. Well said, John. You know, the real Charger fans are going to come back too. And I agree with 100%. That 100%, right? Look, we're kind of beating a dead horse here, but what I would just say is this, right? We start winning, the fans are going to come back.
Yep.
Okay. Nobody likes cheering 100%. For teams that lose, right? And so, but here's the thing, guys, like, and we've said this over and over again, we play an exciting brand of offense, right? With Justin Herbert, it's gonna be tasty. Yep. From our cousin. He's gonna be throwing tasty touchdowns. Tasty touchdowns.
Tasty foot. We got some tasty football coming, bros.
It's gonna be tasty.
But you know what? But look, the fans are already here.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Look at this.
And that is true, guys. There was a ton of fans there. I remember going there a couple times. There was nobody there a few times.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. And holy smokes, there's so many fans there. The excitement was amazing. All the media is talking about it. So yeah, they're coming back. Trust me, it'll be interesting to see this next year too. Yeah,
that's the truth. And I mean, I know I chatted with some people just about that last Raider game, and they converted to Raider fans for some reason, getting away from the Chargers. And while that game was going on, they said, "Man, why am I rooting for the Chargers?" I think it's built in fans of the Chargers to want to root for the Chargers. And so we basically have a fan base, and it's awesome to be able to see in training camp how many people showed up and how many people are so excited about this team. And I was even chatting with some people that were from San Diego, asking them like, "Hey, what is it like for the Chargers fans out there?" And they said, it's kind of more of a 50-50 kind of thing. And I know I looked over a lot of the ratings too, of just seeing what they were like back in 2017 to when they went to the playoffs to play against the Ravens, and the ratings for TV viewership for the Chargers has progressively gotten better and better each year. Mm-hmm. So they were a little butthurt, just kind of what they're saying. Maybe there was that breakup, just Kyle was talking about with the ex-girlfriend and the girlfriend. Crazy girlfriend. And they're coming back. They're understanding, hey, look, there's some exciting football. It sounds like John was kind of one of those things where he was kind of a little bit of bitter about the team there for a little while, and he's come back. Justin Herbert has brought some exciting brand of football here, and we're excited to be able to have him as a quarterback and as a leader of this team. So I think, this year is going to be massive for the Chargers.
It will be. It will be.
Look at that.
I really hope that's amazing.
I mean, that picture right there is amazing. Guys, that's literally what it looks like. And it's nuts. That was every day, guys. Every day.
Yeah, it's literally every day this week.
Yeah.
That it was just like this. Like we were there opening day, just like that. And then, James was there the second day, and then I was there the fourth day. This was the fourth day. Guys, come on.
Yep.
It's almost we ready.
Yep.
The Chargers are ready, man. Like, the fans are coming back. And let's be real too, though. Like, Justin Herbert is one of the driving forces of bringing the fans back to LA.
100%.
I mean, as much as I love Phillip Rivers, I mean, he was kind of a, how do you say? I guess he was vanilla. He was a vanilla white boy. So, because
okay,
because I mean, he was a different personality. He wasn't super like kind of energetic with the media and stuff like that, and he wasn't very exciting to watch. I guess a lot of times. I mean,
man,
but he had a lot of.
He's a fun dude. I mean, watch him in the broadcast booth when he gets to the booth.
I guess that's
it's
true.
When
he gets to the booth, he'll be awesome. He never swears. He's perfect for TV.
Yeah.
I will say this though, again, and I've said this a number of times, they never put a team around Phil Rivers, right? But they're finally doing that with Justin Herbert. And again, he's young, he's impressionable, and he just goes full bore, right? So there was another one I was going to talk about, right here. So okay. Yeah, James, you and I were talking about this. Keenan Allen was saying that, even the last couple of years of the Chargers, fans weren't showing up. They weren't showing up in San Diego. And, they thought, okay, we're breaking up, whatever. They're moving. Well, you know what? They found another home, right? It is what it is, right? So, look, I've always just said this. We could probably squash this conversation. You shouldn't live life with hate, right? And to sit back and just walk around and have a bad attitude about the Chargers, it's wasted energy. It's like, okay, cool, whatever, move on. You're wasting your time, having that anger in your life. So, I'm a big believer that this is the right things moving forward. So, by the way, go ahead.
The future is bright for the Chargers, and the future is, if you're a San Diego fan, just kind of sitting there, kind of hold on to that bitterness of everything.
Got to wear shades. The future's so bright. You got to wear shades.
You got to block out all the haters.
I don't. You got to. Yeah, these are my hater.
Might have stolen my car. I gave away so many of my shades. Like most of my shades have been given away over this past weekend. So it's like I think I have a few left in my car, but that's about it. So I'm like, dang.
You know what? We probably should wrap up here. I know this is we're getting a little longer, but I will say this. Let's talk a little bit more special teams. It looks like our other kicker we signed, James McCourt. Is that his name? Didn't look too great.
So I mean, once again, like our special teams, I think are pretty fair right now. I mean, it's interesting to see who's going to be the guy who's going to be our punt returner. I did see a couple dropped punt catches. That's not good to see. James McCourt was out there kicking the ball on day 2, and it was just looking bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, Vizcaíno, here we go again. It was just all over the place. Did not look very good. And I'm going to talk about the bad as much as the good. And so, I don't think that necessarily he'll be basically kind of our kicker by any means. I mean, J.K. Scott is our guy. And then, Dustin Hopkins is going to be our guy for field goals and such too. So
kicking. Punter will be Scott for sure.
Yep. Punter will be Scott for sure. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. I did see a little bit of that, and I'm not really sure who's going to be truly going to be the kick returner. I mean, I'm sure it's probably going to end up being DeAndre Carter as our guy.
But they'll try people out, right? Like I know the guy that we were talking about. Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank on his name? All of a sudden, Joe Reed. Joe Reed was supposed to be our kickoff returner. I wouldn't be surprised if he got another shot at it again.
Yep.
Guyton. Yeah, good point, John. Guyton could be a guy. I mean, I think he's pretty good too. You never know, right? So, I think, but again, one of the things that I did, speaking of special teams, that's going to be a big part of who actually makes these teams, right?
Yep.
So. Look at maybe Kelly does really well in special teams. So yes, they may keep him as a running back 4 because he does well in special teams and he'll dress. And so that's really going to boil down to that. Right. So, that's going to be an interesting, Wow. We got all these
we're getting
spams
blown
coming
up
here.
by some spam over
Holy
here.
smoke. Hey, how do we get rid of that
Oh,
guy?
You guys
Holy
want some of the
smoke.
best adult dating site? Here we are.
Don't
there
click
you go.
those links, guys. I don't. Yeah. Is there a way you can block those, Kyle? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to block it right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Don't click those links, guys. No, but Andre Roberts is going to be very good, right? I think he will do fine. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure. So.
Yeah.
Actually, that was me. I was just trying to help a brother out here.
Yeah,
you know
I guess
what I'm
so.
saying?
Yeah.
Snaps.
Shoot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it all pans out. And great point, Andy. I mean, some of these guys make the team because of special teams. They still need guys to run out there to be able to go get, their punt returner or kick returner or whatnot. They still need those guys that could be good at that aspect of the game. And, even to say some of the guys like JT Woods or, Jazir Taylor, those are other speedy kind of guys that could go downfield that could potentially be those guys that'll be situated for special teams. So it'll be interesting to see. And Carlos, I've seen Brandon Peters out there too. I haven't even seen him throw a ball around at all. Like, I mean, I can't imagine with the three guys that we got right now with, Daniels and Herbert and also number 2, Stick. Those guys seem to be getting a lot more of the reps more than anything. So, but either way, special teams, that's something to look at. And that'll be something that I'll be taking a look at a lot during preseason games.
And one of the things that I would say on this, and again, we never talk about special teams a whole lot, right? But again, it's a phase of the game. There's 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. We were horrible in special teams last year, and I really do think that we are going to be better this year, right? If we're a top special team, then we are going to be better, right? You can win and lose games by special teams, and Hopkins is definitely going to be our kicker. Scott will definitely be our punter. We got one of the better long slappers in the league, which is excellent, and we should have great pass protection. So, again, I'm expecting a lot better results this year, and I think DeAndre Carter will do very well. For us. And so, guys, I'm just excited, very excited. So
I'm ready for the season, man. And it was exciting to be able to be with you bros at training camp. It was exciting to be able to see the enthusiasm of the fans. It was exciting to be able to connect with the community. I know we went a little long-winded on this one, but I kind of expected this one to be a little bit longer more than anything because we've got a lot of great information, and we're just excited that football's back here again. So yes, we got a spam bot, so we are here, guys. Exciting. We have made it. But let's go ahead and wrap it up, fellas. I know we went through a lot of questions. We kind of went a little bit off the rails on some of the topics here, but I think it's all really good. But bottom line, we're glad to be able to chat about our competition, talk about our team, the Chargers, and we're excited for what's to come. So once again, thanks guys for jumping in. We love your guys' questions, and we love all your guys' support. We love being able to meet you guys even at training camp too. So that was really, really fun to see. So once again, my name's James. I got my 2 bros here, Andy and Kyle. So once again, like, share, let everybody know about the Bolt Bros. We love the support. Bolt Bros, we are out.
We're about to get out of here.